You ever notice how some horror films don't just rattle your nerves, but they stick to your spirit? Long after the credits roll, they linger, not because of the jump scares, but because they were saying something, whispering truths in the form of terror. They weren't just stories, they were symbolic messages, prophetic whispers wrapped in darkness, crafted not just to entertain, but to awaken. Classic horror wasn't about gore for the sake of shock. It was a coded language, a spiritual mirror, a siren call to the awake and aware. These weren't just movies, they were blueprints for the chosen ones, those with eyes to see beyond the veil, who know there's more than meets the eye. Let's talk about Frankenstein. At a glance, it's a monster movie, but lean in closer. What you'll find is a deeply human tragedy. Frankenstein's monster was created with intention and brilliance, yet he was cast out, feared, and left to wander alone. Sound familiar? That's the path of many chosen ones. Born with something powerful inside, misunderstood, labeled, and left to figure it all out alone. The creature wasn't evil. He was a reflection of our pain. And the real monster? The one who abandoned him. That hits different when you've been the outcast with a divine call. Now, haunted houses, think deeper. These weren't just spooky backdrops. They represented the architecture of the soul, every creaking floorboard, every hidden attic or basement. Parts of ourselves, parts that we've walled off, sealed up, refused to visit. Ancestral wounds, childhood traumas, buried shame. And when the ghosts show up in those stories, it's never random. It's when the characters get too close to healing, to truth. The haunting begins when we dare to enter the rooms we've avoided. Healing always stirs the spirits. And then there's the final girl. Every horror story has one. She's usually overlooked, quiet, underestimated, but her superpower, discernment. She pays attention. She moves by instinct, not fear. She endures, not because she's loud, but because she listens to that still, small voice. She's the remnant, the survivor, the one who outlasts the darkness, not because she ran the fastest, but because she knew when to stand still. Just like the chosen ones, preserved not by luck but by divine appointment. Possession films, they are something else. But here's the thing. They're not fiction. They are symbolic warnings. Gates are real. Spirits are real. And these films show what happens when we leave ourselves open. The characters always start off unaware, dabbling, inviting, entertaining what they don't understand. But once the spirit enters, it's war. And for many of us, this isn't a film. It's testimony. You've seen the darkness. You've fought it. You've cast it out. Because in real life, deliverance is messy, but it's powerful. Vampires, elegant, seductive, but make no mistake, they're parasites. They feed off life. They represent spiritual leeches, people, habits, thoughts, environments that seem beautiful, but leave you drained. They charm with promises, but consume your light. Some of us had to learn this the hard way. Energy thieves come in all forms. The vampire just gave them fangs. The Holy Spirit gave you discernment, and masked villains, that blank face, silent presence, always watching. That's not just a trope. That's generational iniquity. Patterns that stalk families, addictions, abuse, anger, spirits that don't speak, but repeat. They show up again and again until someone breaks the cycle, until someone faces the face they were never supposed to look at and says, "It ends with me." You see where this is going? Horror movies weren't just for screams. They were training for those who were listening. The spiritually awake can decode them, because we've lived them, every haunting, every possession, every escape. They were teaching us to recognize the enemy's tactics, to name the fear, and to rise above it. Even in horror, the light wins, always. The curse breaks, the sun rises, and the story shifts. That's not just a script. That's spiritual truth. And when you've faced real demons, inside and out, you stop being scared of the fictional ones. You don't flinch anymore, because you know what it's like to survive the night and still praise in the morning. So next time someone says, "It's just a movie," smile. Let them think that. Because what they don't realize is these films are prophecy in disguise. Warnings, blueprints, mirrors, and you're not the victim, you're the vessel, the one who carries light into the darkest room and leaves it changed. If this stirred something in you, if it cracked open an old fear and replaced it with fresh insight, go ahead and like this video, subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss the next revelation. We do this for the spiritually sharp, the emotionally deep, and the kingdom thinkers. Drop a comment below. What horror film opened your eyes in a new way? Let's start a conversation with the awakened. This is where Sugar Bytes news meets spirit, cinema, and revelation, where the darkness is dissected, decoded, and defeated. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're chosen. And the enemy's worst fear is that you'll realize it. We'll see you in the next one.